Couldn't see Ray. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the March 10th meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak. Here. Noling.
Here.
Rhodes.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Weigel. Here. Grisham.
Here.
Grove.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
Keen.
Excused.
9 present, 1 excused.
We have a quorum. Please rise if you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderwoman Novak. Okay, we will move on to Part D on our agenda's public hearings. We have 3 public hearings and 1 presentation this evening. I will ask the clerk to read out item number 1.
Conditional use permit for Divine Covenant Church, a proposed religious institution use at 10533 West National Avenue.
Thank you, and I'll turn it over to staff.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Steve Sherman, Director of City Planning, and our first hearing this evening is for a church which is relocated from Milwaukee area, Metro Milwaukee area, about 92nd and Howard, to location at 105th and seeking occupancy at 105th and National Avenue. Church, Divine Covenant Church is about 1,200 square feet and will be located in the 2nd floor of the existing multi-tenant office building, formerly North Shore Bank, who has since relocated to the, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but to the northeast or northwest corner of that site in a new building. The membership would be pretty small. It's only about 10 persons currently, and they're not expecting to expand. In fact, one of the reasons they're relocating here is given the downsizing of their congregation. There are no baptisms, weddings, or funerals proposed for this membership here, this organization. The hours, as stated here, are primarily Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon for a Sunday school, followed by a Sunday service, and then Wednesday Bible studies, and then just routine normal daily office hours. The floor plan is fairly simple, about 1,200 square feet, consisting of removing an internal wall for expanding a gathering space, and then office spaces within. And then Plan Commission has reviewed this and recommended approval subject to Common Council's review this evening at the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions from the Common Council on public hearing number 1?
Mayor Devine,
Alderwoman Novak.
is there any tenants currently that are renting out the lower space?
North Shore Bank was in the lower level, and to my knowledge, I don't think they've filled that yet, but I could certainly check into that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
Steve, I assume they're just renting, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And this doesn't change the taxable status of the property? It's still taxable property?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions from the members of the council? Seeing none, are there any questions from the members of the audience? If you could just turn the microphone on, sir, if there's a button on the base. There you go.
Okay, I am the pastor of that church, and so we're looking forward to being able to come into the West Allis area and to participate in being a part of the neighborhood in that area.
All right. Thank you very much and welcome. Any other questions, comments from the members of the audience? If not, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
Conditional use permit for Scholars First Education, a proposed group child care center use at 6014 West Lincoln Avenue.
Thank you. Turn it back over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. This the daycare here is going to be located at 60th and Lincoln Avenue, just west of that intersection. Proposed 20 children, ages 3 to 12 years old. It's about up to 5 staff persons, 2 shifts, and the hours are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. There is some nuance to that depending on the state licensing. It may be that those hours could potentially be reduced to 7 to 7, but the applicant is seeking 7 to 10, so subject to licensing through the state. The property is zone C2, commercial. The previous use was a salon. Prior to that, I think another retail, like a tailor use within the building. It is a mixed-use building, so it does feature an apartment behind near the alley, and but the size of the tenant space, the commercial tenant space, is just over 1,000 feet. They are proposing some yard improvements in the front yard, converting that paved parking lot surface to a play area with a fence, some cement planters for some not only aesthetic but also protection. And the residents or the parents dropping off will not be pulling into the site per se, but they will be parking either along Lincoln Avenue or 61st Street where possible, using available street parking within the area. So we don't see this as a problem for the neighborhood. The capacity of the streets within this area along Lincoln Avenue and 60th Street, as well as 61st Street, to offer street parking within this area. It's fairly common. Just another view of the street of Lincoln Avenue. So Plan Commission has reviewed this. There have been no objections to date, and there are some conditions within the Planning Commission, and staff have recommended basically just getting a little bit more information on the fencing type. A wood fence or composite style fence is recommended, and not being too tall to cause a vision impairment for traffic. And then also just a detail on the cement planters, as well as the surface, the pavement surface type in the play area, and a four-sided refuse screening. And then the driveway along the frontage is a little bit wider. You can see here between the roofing company to the east and the daycare property to the west, modifying that driveway and shrinking that down a bit, just so that it adds another layer of visual barrier and protection to the outdoor play area along Lincoln Avenue. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions from the members of the Common Council on public hearing number 2?
Mayor Devine?
Alderwoman Grisham.
Thank you. Steve, what caught my attention here was the hours of operation. Of our daycares, and this probably is a big question to be answered, I don't recall them being open till 10 p.m. Is there a reason for this? I mean, not to say that there's not second shift daycares, maybe there are, but 10 p.m. seems to be quite late for a daycare operation.
And that was part of their business plan to accommodate the first and second shift employment, not only within the area but in the region. So that is part of their business plan. And I can look back to see, but I mean, I know we have some daycares that are outside of the first shift, broaching into the second shift. So I know they're out there. I just can't pinpoint one for you right now to say, here's a comparable, but I could certainly find some.
Okay, and my second part of that question is, if there is a second shift at 10 p.m., if there's 20 children, and I'm just assuming that they get breaks, they get to go outside, they get to do these things, would that be taking place at a later hour?
Probably not. I think it'd be likely the outdoor area is primarily for daytime use. After dark, they'll be within the building. And
Okay.
I believe the applicant's also here as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Did you wish to address? Sure, if you want to, feel free. If you could press the button on the base of the microphone, please. There you go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tiaja. I am the director for Scholars First Education. Just to answer the question about the outside, for second shift, the state does require that the children go out, but it will not be like any time after 3 p.m. So you have to schedule that within that frame. The state also requires there
we
you go. So for second shift, it is a little bit different as far as their schedule, feedings, sleeping, things like that. So it's not more learning and play rather than like feeds, sleep, and go home, if that makes any sense. But yes, there are childcare centers in the Milwaukee area. I'm not sure about West Allis that offers a second shift and not like a 12-hour from 7 to 7 like most typical childcare centers are. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Haas?
Thank you, Mayor Devine. And Steve, I think I missed it, but there's going to be a play area in the front. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Alderman Haas. In the front area, there was a parking lot for the former retail use for maybe four or so cars. That'll be converted to a playground area with a fenced playground area with cement barriers, similar to perhaps what you may have seen once upon a time on 60th and Burnham. Planters, I mean, around State Fair Park, they also have these cement planters that provide some traffic protection as well as some aesthetic. Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel?
Thank you. Steve, so is the applicant leasing or buying?
The applicant will be leasing this
Okay.
property. Yeah.
So again, taxable value question, it still stays on the tax rolls?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? If not, are there any questions from the members of the audience on public hearing number 2? Seeing none, we will close our second public hearing, and I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 3.
Conditional use permit for Discovery Scholars Academy, a proposed group child care center at 1568 South 81st Street.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mr.
Mayor.
Chair.
This property is a former retail liquor store on 81st Street between Orchard Street and Lapham. The Discovery and Scholars Academy is looking to operate their daycare for up to 30 children between the hours of 6 a.m. to midnight. And they are ranging from infants to school-aged children. Zoning is C2. Daycares require a public hearing within the commercial zoning districts. This building is also a mixed-use building. The front portion of the property in blue is going to be the daycare area, and then the rear area in green is the rear yard area. So there will be a play area behind the building. It hasn't been delineated on this site plan, but it is one of the conditions from the Planning Commission's conditions of approval. The floor plan shown here just sort of shows your entrance from 81st Street into the building, consisting of a lobby and then the various areas for, kids ranging in age from preschool to toddler. Then you have a teacher's lounge, and then you have the older children further back, followed by an office. There's also a kitchen area as well as bathrooms within the building. The residential area is completely separated from the commercial component, and Planning Commission has recommended approval. We have no objections to date, and the primary conditions are really just sort of working out the site plan a little further, just respective of the site improvements taking place on site. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the council on public hearing number 3?
Mayor Devine?
Alderwoman Grisham.
Thank you. Steve, this is my old stomping grounds. I worked at the hair surgeon, and I remember it being Jerry's liquor store. However, it's nice to see that that's not going to be vacant. However, as I remember, and I kind of take it my route to my salon now, there's a lot of restrictions on parking, and is there daycare right across the street, I believe?
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, the Little Stars Daycare across the street. Parking in the area is primarily like 1 hour parking. So it's going to be, quick turnaround, which I think doesn't really impact daycare. I mean, parents typically drop off the kids and are back in their vehicles traveling away in a short period of time. So I don't think that should be an issue, but at least none was indicated as part of our review.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council on public hearing number 3? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the members of the audience on public hearing number 3?
Thank you. A little bit of a clarification, first of all. The property in question, right across the street, there is a daycare center now that I do not believe is functional. If this gets approved, would that be like another daycare center, or would that be something completely different? And down the road, should that daycare center across the street be re-licensed, would that then mean there would be this child development center and a daycare center functional at the same time?
Mr. Chair, do you want, before
Sure.
you answer that, can you just give us your name and address, please?
I'm
I
sorry,
forgot to ask
my
for
name
that.
is Dwight Schmitz. My address is 1553 South 81st Street.
Thank you.
I'm across the street and down like two
Gotcha.
houses from this.
Gotcha. Mr. Chair?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, so this is a completely separate applicant in business from the one across the street. To my knowledge, I'll have to take a look at the other one if it's still in business or not. I thought it was, but it may be out of business. But there could be two daycares across the street from one another. It's certainly possible. The zoning will certainly allow that, given the hearing process that we're going through this evening. So each one is reviewed as they come to us through the permit process. Each one is reviewed on a case-by-case basis individually. This one no different, so they're before us tonight for public hearing, for consideration. Thank you.
One quick question to that. So, as I said, there does not appear to be anything going on in the existing daycare center across the street from this. Do you know of any plans that there might be to relicense that existing daycare center?
I haven't heard. If it's, I guess, I was under the impression it was still in business, so if it's not in business, I guess we can certainly look into that. And it would have to be, it would need a new occupancy. Any new applicant coming in, new daycare, whether it's the existing or another one, would need to come through our occupancy permit process.
Okay, because we have not seen any children in that daycare center now for a couple of weeks, so we assumed it had gone out of business or whatever.
Okay, I can check. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the members of the audience on public hearing number 3?
Mayor Devine? I was waiting for Marty to ask if this was leased or owned, because a gentleman who came before licensing prior bought the building and wanted to be a liquor store. So I know that it was a sale, so I don't know if it was sold to this business.
I believe it's leased. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So same owner. Thank you.
Back to the audience. Is any other questions or comments from the members of the audience on the last public hearing? All right, then we will close public hearing number 3, and we will move on to Part E of our agenda's item 4. I will ask clerk to read out item 4.
Presentation by Milwaukee County regarding recommendations of the future state project.
Thank you. Mr. Rowlett, whenever you're ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Rowlett. I am the Strategic Planning Director for Milwaukee County. Thank you so much for giving me time this evening to share a bit of information about the county's future state project. So what we found in the past 18 months of community engagement, stakeholder engagement, benchmarking to other counties across the country is that when we've asked people, what do you want to see in the future of Milwaukee County, a lot of people say, remind me what Milwaukee County does again, right? And so I'd just like to start out with just a quick refresher, right? We got 18 county supervisors, we have 8 elected offices, and we have hundreds of services. As you can see here, you've probably been to the Milwaukee County Zoo, taken the county bus, MCTS, there's the county parks, of course. We have our Community Reintegration Center, formerly the House of Corrections, Health and Human Services, Medical Examiner, the list goes on, right? So that's where we are now. Now, the reason why we took on this project is because the county adopted a very bold vision in 2019, and that is to become the healthiest county in Wisconsin by achieving racial equity. Milwaukee County's Future State project is an effort to reimagine what the county does, both whether it's adding services, taking away services, or shifting services, because we know that our service portfolio did not come from on high in tablet form. and has been malleable over the generations. And we want to be intentional as we think about this moment of enormous political, technological, social, cultural change about where we want to go in the future. And I want to be clear, when I talk about the future, I'm not talking about 2027, 2028. I'm talking about the 2030s, right? The 2040s, when we know there's a lot of conditions that are going to be different in our, in Milwaukee County and in Wisconsin as a whole. So there's three main thrusts of this project, three main drivers. First is health equity related to our vision. Second is innovation. And third is fiscal responsibility. And I want to address something up front because it's come up in a number of conversations as I've gone around the county over the years, actually talking about our strategic plan. And that is why equity is so important, right? Equity is certainly a hot topic these days at all levels. And I want to talk a little bit about why we are so adamant about embracing this concept. So Milwaukee County's health rankings have been near the bottom of the state of Wisconsin for many years. And it's not even close. Ozaukee County, Waukesha County, Washington County are all in the top 5. Milwaukee County's been about 70th of 72. And the reason is almost entirely due to disparities along particularly racial lines, but also other lines of identity. Older adults, veterans, youth, people with disabilities. We simply have not been serving all people in Milwaukee County equally, to state the obvious, right, for generations. And so this is something that we are seeking to address head on. I also want to address something up front that I anticipate feedback or questions about, which is Milwaukee County, it's no secret that we've had fiscal challenges, right? The county, beginning for about the past 25 years, has had a structural deficit, and the solution primarily to date has been cut, cut, cut. So we've reduced the county's employees by 50% since the year 2000. We've reduced our physical footprint by 3 million square feet. Used to be at 12 million, around 9 now. I'm not going to read through all these, but one thing I just want to make clear up front is, as someone who's been in this role of strategic planner at Milwaukee County for the past 7 years, the one thing I can guarantee you is that continuing to cut is not going to be in the best interest of the people we serve. And in fact, when we received our draft recommendations that I'll be sharing this evening, and I pushed the consultants around, hey, we need to see more cuts, their response was, you have cut so deeply into your services over the years, whether it's county parks, county transit, you name it, that any significant further cuts would likely further jeopardize or harm precisely the populations that you are seeking to serve. Doesn't mean that there's not room for additional efficiencies, but I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to go through the recommendations. I'm going to start with some of the big ones, because I think these have generated the most buzz as we've gone around the county recently. So the first is a regional transit authority, right? So right now, the Milwaukee Metro is an anomaly. We're really unusual nationwide in that there's no dedicated funding for our transit system. It's why you always hear in the news things about like MCTS budget cuts, route cut. We're cutting routes right now, as folks probably know, right? And there's a very real possibility that that's just going to continue into the future. So the draft recommendation from our consultants is to work in partnership with the state to create a separate taxing authority that would focus on transportation and transit. Second, similar vein here, is a parks district for Parks and Zoo. Milwaukee, once again, is unique in the nation. We're a laggard in this respect. One of the few metros that doesn't have a designated parks authority or parks district. So the consultants have recommended, similarly, spinning off county parks, potentially, if there's interest, municipal parks, play fields associated with schools, and also, this, I want to be very transparent, this would be a new tax. This would be a new taxing authority in order to sustain a base level of funding for the county parks. And just to put a fine point on this, for folks who aren't aware, we recently encountered a situation where, just in order to save one of our senior centers in a park, we explored building senior housing in that park as part of a senior center. Our county board declined that opportunity, and now unfortunately we've had to close that senior center. So I just want to be really clear about the magnitude of some of the challenges that we're facing, which are met only by the boldness of some of these ideas. In terms of county operations and governance, they had a recommendation around shared services. So this has been an idea talked about for many years, hasn't really gained much traction, but as folks may know, we have 19 municipalities across the county, and although there's much greater service sharing than there used to be, and kudos to you all for the work that you've done leading the way in terms of a lot of service integration and sharing with some of your neighboring municipalities, but overall, there's still at least a dozen HR departments, procurement, IT, you name it. And so their recommendation is to explore ways to share services better or integrate some of those functions across the county. Recommendation 15, they had a couple of placeholder recommendations where our consulting partners, I didn't speak to them, but Barry Dunn and Cairo, a national professional services firm and a local communications and engagement firm, they recommended, I'll go back for a second, that there might be areas for improvement in terms of the county structure, right? I think a lot of us, when we talk to friends, neighbors, colleagues, they don't necessarily know what all of these functions are or how to navigate them. So that's something else that we're looking for feedback on, is ideas about the future of the county's structure. Oops, forgive me. The next one is one where, once again, I commend you all in West Allis for being leaders in this, which is economic growth, right? There's parts of the county that have been almost allergic to new development, and I think West Allis serves as a leader, one that I cite often in terms of your embrace of new housing and economic growth. So this is something that our consultants are gathering feedback on to see what we can learn from places like West Allis countywide. Next one is public health and social services. So right now there are 10 public health departments across Milwaukee County. We're one of the only counties in the state that doesn't have a countywide public health department. Interestingly, the consultants did not recommend making changes to the existing public health offices. I want to be really clear about that. They did not recommend changes to the existing public health offices. What they did recommend, and I can speak from personal experience having been involved in the pandemic response years ago, is better integration of data, strategy, information across those health offices. Second is no wrong door. So our Department of Health and Human Services has worked very hard over the years as we've further consolidated and integrated our former departments of aging, veterans affairs, and child support into our Department of Health and Human Services, so that when folks approach the county and they need help, and I want to be clear, this is still very much a work in progress, but what we are able to do now that we weren't able to do in years past is, rather than saying, oh, here, call this phone number, see if they can help you over there, is instead help someone directly by providing those services or directing them to those services within the same building. Third is integrated case management. So this is about having a clear picture of each person receiving services at the county so that we can tailor services to better meet individual needs. Fourth is mobile service delivery and community navigators. The idea here is that, even from here, I was in Oak Creek, I was in Brown Deer a couple days ago, Oak Creek the other day, Bayside yesterday. It's a pain to get to the county courthouse, COGS building, you name it, right? A lot of people, especially the further you live from the city, you don't necessarily want to come into downtown to access county services. So the idea here is to bring services to where people are, leverage our libraries, other public spaces to provide services where people live and thus reduce barriers to access. And finally is more funding for the Birth to 3 program. So our Birth to 3 program used to be 21 providers, and as the years have gone by and as there's been cuts on the federal level in this program, we have 3 providers left. And our consultant said, given the research around 0 to 5 and the importance in terms of one's broader life expectancy and quality of life, that this is an area that we should lean into and focus on. Housing. So 3 main ones here. The first is a unified and integrated prevention-focused housing system. There's a lot of different parts of the housing system across the county, whether it's working on homelessness, eviction prevention, construction of affordable housing, you name it. And their recommendation was for reasons of accountability as well as efficiency to bring those together in a way that is more coherent and more impactful. And then there's two population groups that they flagged for us in their research and engagement that we needed to pay particular attention to. One is young people. There's a lot of young people, as folks may know, who are experiencing homelessness across Milwaukee County. And so one of the things that came out in this last round of community engagement last year was requests from young people for more safe, secure, affordable housing. And the second is older adults. The population of older adults in Milwaukee County is projected to increase from, I think, around 200,000 now to maybe 250 or 300,000 in the years ahead. And so that's a greater absolute number and relative number. And there simply are not enough housing, there's not enough homes available for older people. There's not enough ability for people to age in place. Don't worry, I'm almost done. This one's pretty straightforward. Listen to community, right? When we did our community listening sessions, I think every single one of them has ended with a plea and a call for more community engagement in the work that we do, which is something we take very seriously. Criminal justice and legal services. So one of their recommendations was to increase access to legal resources, particularly for the civil court system, because what they found is that there's a lot of folks who get tied up in the civil courts, and it can have a significant impact on their finances or otherwise in regards to housing or just other access. So they recommended that, like the county has explored things like right to counsel in the past on the eviction side, also explore perhaps partnerships around increasing access to civil courts. And the criminal justice public safety recommendation is a placeholder because, let's be honest, there's a lot of room for improvement in this area. And they wanted to conduct more engagement and research before they came forward with a recommendation for the county about how we improve in these areas to increase public safety. Oh, that was it. Okay. Surprised even myself. Okay. Yeah, questions.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, Mr. Rowlett. Are there any questions from the Common Council on this presentation? Looks like you get off easy.
Yeah, okay.
All
Well,
right.
I would just say if, please take a moment if you can before April 3rd to participate in our survey and provide, we would love to hear more feedback about what you want to see for the future of Milwaukee County. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, that will conclude our presentations. We will move on to item F, which is public participation. This is where the council can receive information from members of the public. During this 30-minute period, each speaker must announce their name and address for our record, and please limit their comments to one statement of no longer than 5 minutes. The council cannot take action on topics raised by the speakers and cannot discuss topics with the speakers, but we can listen. Does anybody wish to address the council under public participation this evening? If so, please approach the podium. All right. Public participation. And our next item is the announcement of our standing committees. They will be meeting during recess. They are listed on the top of page 2 on your agendas. So if you are here for a specific agenda item and are not sure what room to go to when we break for recess, please stop one of us when we break for recess, and we will make sure to get you into the right room. H is the mayor's report. I have 2 quick things. The first thing is I want to just take a minute to recognize that March is Women's History Month. To take a chance to celebrate and recognize all the contributions and accomplishments of so many women in our lives, including our clerk and our city engineer and members of the Common Council and business owners. And I just hesitated to start this because I'm going to forget somebody, but I will just stop at that. What was that? My mom, she doesn't watch these. They do. Moms, aunts, grandmas, you name it. The second thing I want to mention is the inaugural meeting of the Milwaukee Metro Fire Department board meeting is meeting tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. It is going to be a virtual meeting. It is going to be open to the public. The links will be listed on these Legistar, and we also sent it out through the news alerts function of our city app. So all are welcome to observe and attend that meeting tomorrow, March 11th at 5:30 PM. That does conclude the mayor's report, which brings us to item I. Are there any reports from the alderpersons this evening?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move for approval of the minutes of the February 24th, 2026 Common Council meeting.
Second.
There's a motion, there is a second. If there are no corrections to the minutes, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Move to item K. We have no standing committee reports, which brings us to our consent agenda.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
Do any alderpersons wish for separate action on any of the items contained in item L, our consent agenda? Then seeing none, I move for approval of item L, the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there, if there is no discussion, I will ask the clerk, we need a second?
Second.
Thank you. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Helverson.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That motion carries.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move that the council stand in recess until the conclusion of our committee meetings.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in recess. Good evening. We will call the Common Council back to order, and I will ask our clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak?
Here.
Noling?
Here.
Rote?
Here.
Turner?
Here.
Weigel?
Here.
Grisham?
Here.
Grobe?
Here.
Haas?
Here.
Halverson?
Here.
9 present.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the Administration Committee.
The Administration Committee recommends adoption of item 26 and authorizing payment as ordered by the judge for item 27.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak? Aye. Noling?
Aye.
Rote?
Aye.
Turner?
Aye.
Weigel?
Aye.
Grisham?
Aye.
Grobe?
Aye.
Haas?
Aye.
Halverson?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That motion carries, and we'll move on to the Economic Development Committee.
The Economic Development Committee recommends granting of item 28, adoption of item 29, holding of item 30 until the next Common Council meeting on March 24th, granting of items 31, 32, and 33.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thank you. Any discussion on the Economic Development Committee report? Seeing nobody, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak?
Aye.
Noling?
Aye.
Rote?
Aye.
Turner?
Aye.
Weigel?
Aye.
Grisham?
Aye.
Grobe?
Aye.
Haas?
Aye.
Halverson?
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. And then next and last is Public Safety.
The Public Safety Committee recommends granting of item 34 and holding of item 35 to allow time, holding of item 35 for 30 days to allow time for the change of agent to be applied for.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
That motion carries. And
Mayor
before
Devine?
we adjourn, I'm going back to my mayor's report and for Women's History Month, because I knew I was going to forget someone, and I probably forgot a lot of people, but the second after we adjourned, I realized I forgot our city administrator, Aaron Hearn, who is in the audience, and I share a wall with, and I see every day, so I apologize and want to recognize her and thank her. She's actually the one that suggested I put it on my mayor's report this evening, and then I forget to recognize her, so I apologize. Alderman Haas, back to you.
Mayor Devine, I move that we adjourn until our next scheduled council meeting, Tuesday, March 24th, 2026.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. All in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned.